think this is a little bit duller than this, but I think the design of this is much better because it gives it a heavier head. You can take bigger chunks out of it. So, and here's all of this. Hard to say. They both do pretty good. This one just feels light in the head. A bit more downward with this one because it's heavier. I don't know. This is more head heavy. This one's a little bit further back. It's different designs, but it's decent. I mean, takes out some pretty big chunks. So, I still like the axe. I really like this Gransfors Bruks. Just to give you another shot of this. I mean, you can really dig into those with this axe. So, I think I got these in the shots, but alright, well, most of the time I'm going to use a knife anyways. For this sort of thing at least. I mean, I wouldn't be planning on using an axe or machete for making a feather stick or whatever, you know. I mean, that's what a knife's for. A little knife, sharp knife. Keep it sharp. It'll perform well. These here, in my opinion, if I had to have one of these out of these two blades, I would definitely probably go with this one here, just because you have a heavier head on it. So when you go into big slashes with this, you're going to get bigger chunks out. So you can chop down a tree. It'll help with delimbing as well. This one here, it's not as heavy in the head. It's, I want to say it's thinner, but it's not. They're about the same thinness. Which you can see there, I'm pretty sure. Hopefully I'm angling that right. But yeah, they're about the same thickness, I should say. Reason I'm doing this is this blade had a recall, as many may be aware of. There was a problem with the handle. I guess it was breaking at this part where the handle meets with the blade. And so they had a recall on it, so anyone who had purchased one of the blades that was recalled was able to send it back into Gerber, and they went and sent you back one that was fixed. Only thing that I noticed is that, to me, it seems like there's less of a bend in the new one. It almost seems more like a machete now, because it almost goes straight right along there. The old one, I could have swore it came out much more at a bend, and maybe that was poor design, and that's why they recalled it, because that bend was maybe causing too much stress right here where the blade meets the handle, so people were whacking with some strong force, and they caused it to break. So maybe they rethought their design, straightened it out a bit, and voila. I think the handle's a little bit thicker. I once was batoning with this, and I felt a lot of recoil in my pinky here when I was doing it. Um, I'm kind of guessing that they might have done away with that. They might have fixed that, but I haven't tried batoning with it yet. But like I said, this is more of a delimbing blade, and if I could avoid having this as a chopping tree blade or for chopping a tree down, I would definitely avoid it. The axe clearly is suited for that. You know, splitting wood, it can chop a tree down. You know, small trees are a piece of cake with this. Um, yes, a saw would be nice, and probably I would prefer having the axe and a saw. I'll probably bring one of these with me as well. I'm not too big of a whiner about what I carry with me. It's a little bit more weight, but I get to test stuff out and have some fun. But yeah, they go through small limbs, no problem. I mean, this blade, you can see I can easily make shavings with this axe just as well with those machetes. You know, it doesn't take much, but I mean, it's easy to do. I'm not even putting much force on it. I still need to sharpen it. I've had this blade since Christmas, and I used it when I went winter camping and chopped down a tree, split a bunch of wood. I chopped down a big tree, bigger than this axe should be chopping down, really. But I chopped down that tree, split the wood, so it's lost some of its edge, and I just need to sharpen it up. It's still really sharp, just not razor sharp like it came when I first got it. So that's kind of what I wanted to say here. This is not a bad machete, and I'm hoping that they fix their problem with the recall, and this will be an awesome machete for anyone that uses it for delimbing, garden work, or whatever. I wouldn't take it with me if it were my only tool. If I had to choose out of the three, I'd obviously take the Gransfors Bruks, the axe, because it's just so much more energy efficient. You can split wood so fast with this. If you've seen my video of winter camping, I split wood in that, and this axe it splits wood so easy. It's not even funny. It's night and day difference between if you were using some crappy axe or this axe. This one definitely blows them out of the water. Gransfors Bruks, the Swedish company, they've totally done an awesome job with these blades on these axes. They're just sharp. They keep their edge. You know, they're useful. And so anyone that goes out bushcrafting, camping, I would definitely say take one of these with you. I think it would actually be nice to have a felling axe because you could go for bigger wood. But this, for like backpacking, is awesome. It's a little bit longer, the Scandinavian forest axe. And my nose is a little bit clogged up because I had a cold last week. But anyhow, so it's got a little bit longer handle. I think there's a small one. It's a small forest axe. I think it's about that tall. You know, it's a little bit shorter for that one. And the reason I didn't go for one of those is because I hate the idea of having myself come down into my leg or whatever when splitting wood or hacking at something. So I like the extra length. It gives you a little bit more power too because you got that much more leverage, I guess. And I noticed when I used this, I was able to get some really mean swings just as I wailed with it from the far end here. So I'm glad I got the longer one. And yeah, so that's all I wanted to say about these. And if anyone's looking to buy an axe, if you've got $120, this is a good axe. If you don't have $120, then I would say find an old axe head that's made with good metal and refurbish it. I've never done that, but I've seen videos on YouTube, and I think that would be the best way to do it because there's too many axes that are made out of crappy material that you end up using it like a couple times and it starts chipping at the head where you're supposed to be sharp and it's supposed to, you know, be stronger than the wood, but the wood is stronger than the blade. And so those kind of axes I think are real crap, and sometimes you have to go back to the older metals or, you know, go to some company that comes with quality materials that gives you something like this. And so I would definitely suggest this. These here, I bought these when I was originally just getting into camping and stuff. I saw them and I was thinking, oh, that's an awesome blade. I didn't want just a normal machete. This one I had heard good things about, and I'm quite satisfied with this just because, like I said, it has a very heavy head to it, and so it almost makes it like an axe in a way, but it's not heavy enough to be an axe. So when you come down with it, you just have a lot more drive with it. You know, it just really can chop into that wood because it has that weight. But I mean, with this one here, if I were to do the same thing, I can still do decent as well, but I just don't feel like I have the weight with it. And I think this one is actually sharper than this is, so that's also a factor there. I need to sharpen this up more. I sharpened it at one point, but I want to give it an even sharper edge. I think the edge is a little bit duller. But yeah, the praying, I'm glad they fixed the problem that they had with it, and like I said, it looks different to me. It looks straighter. It looks like a straighter machete. It doesn't look like it's as bent. Before it seemed like it came forward and like then bent far back, because even the case here that they gave me when they sent it back, it's completely different. It's totally straight. I remember the other one being more like that when I was sticking it into the case, which means that, you know, if it was like this in the old case, then the blade was also like that, you know, bent over that direction downward. So they've clearly straightened it out so they can like lessen the amount of force that is coming down on this angle here, you know, where it meets the handle, and that's probably what was the problem with it. Yeah, but good blades. As long as they fixed it, I don't have a problem with it. I'm glad that they fixed their products and they don't just keep selling them, because that would just be dumb. I guess there were 24 and 119,000 of these blades that were made that had that problem, which is a very small amount. So the people that probably had that problem, they must have really used them hard, that's my guess, because if it was bent so much back and it had that problem where the force was breaking it here, you probably really had to hit it hard and cause a weak point that it snapped. But now that they've straightened it, I'm sure it's going to hold better. It's going to hold better. It's not going to break. So that's what I got to say about those. I'm going to start a fire now just because I've got all these shavings here, and in back of me there's a wood stove here that I filled up with some Christmas branches that are totally dried out. That'll be awesome tinder. So I mean, this is tinder as well, but clearly the Christmas tree stuff is going to catch like no other, and so I'm going to do that. Before I just close up here with these tools, I've said it before, use gloves. I got that tip mainly from Nut and Fancy, watching his videos. He's done many videos talking about that. You know, I'm going to say it again. If I were to be splitting this here, let's say, see if this comes in the video, and I had this axe, and I was coming down like this, and I wasn't very accurate, you know, there's a very high possibility that I'm going to miss and hit my hand. Now, a sharp blade will cut you. These are sharp. So therefore, I want to be protected, so I have these gloves. You can also use leather gloves, which I think he uses most of the time. But the mechanics are nice. They've got leather on the inside here. It's not a really durable leather, but it's pretty good. And then they've got these pads here at the knuckles, the back side of the knuckles, and then in your palm you've got a lot of padding as well. So I mean, if you're hitting stuff hard, you're gonna maybe fill it in your hands, and these will help save that, so you don't fill as much, and so your hands last longer while you're out there. But yeah, so I mean, this thing will split wood really nicely. Anyhow, that being shown, get a nice axe. That's all I can say. There's the alternative, which is to get a really big knife, which I think is awesome too. I am not against knives, but I'm a big fan of axes, and so far I've seen that the splitting of wood is much more efficient with an axe. you can just do it so much faster. You can use a baton and a big knife, and it works just as well. But I think you do a lot more energy expenditure there with the big knife. Now, that being said, I still think you need something that goes with the axe, though. A good saw is definitely needed, and I'm sure every single bushcraft person carries a nice saw or has a good saw because they know that. Because you can use that saw if you want to chop the tree down initially with it. If you don't want to use your axe, you can saw out a wedge and saw the other side and fell the tree. That works really well with the saw. You can also saw up pieces about that big, which you can split with your axe, and you're awesome. I mean, splitting wood with the axe is so nice. You can split it into fourths, you can split it into sixths or eighths, and you're pretty good. Once you get down to this really small stuff, it's probably better to use a knife, though. I mean, once you get to this stuff here, you can definitely, get your knife into here and, hammer it in and, split it off of it, which is really easily done. So the axe, I think, wins, in my opinion, for splitting wood. The knife is maybe lighter, and that might be a issue or a factor there that you think about when you go out. I know Nut and Fancy's a big fan of knives, and I'm guessing that that's because he likes to have the whole weight factor in there, Oh, I want to make sure my pack's light, so he carries a knife and a saw visor. And now if I were to carry a knife and a saw visor, it might be 2 pounds heavier, or 3 pounds. I'm not sure exactly what the numbers are. But to me, it's definitely an awesome tool to have, and make sure you take care of your good tools. Oil them up. Nothing Fancy uses WD-40. WD-40 is awesome. This is a little bit smaller, and it's easy to use. Pour a little oil on your blade and rub it into it. I'm not going to rub it in right now just because I'm wearing these gloves, and I don't want to muck up my gloves too much. But there we go. So, I would just go, each time that you use it, I would suggest doing this, go and oil the whole blade up, because a lot of these blades are going to probably rust if you keep them in cold areas, and if you're cutting some wet wood or something, it's nice to just take care of your blades and make sure they don't rust, because once they rust, you're gonna have to buy another one, or you're gonna have to go and file out that rust so it's gone. Otherwise, it weakens your blade, and you don't want that. So that's just a few things I had to say. Like I said, I'm going to start a fire with this, and that's what I'm going to do right now. Anyhow, one more thing. If you guys have been watching my other videos, I'm sort of just starting is the thing. I'm going to do a lot of videos on hunting, bushcraft, camping, winter camping, trapping, hopefully. It's kind of harder for me to do trapping just because I got a daytime job and I got to do that. Trapping requires you go and check your traps all the time. But anyhow, I just wanted to show my rabbit skin that I had here. It's a really nice skin, and I hope you guys watch that video. I'm going to post another video of how to salt and cure these rabbit skins. I've got 8 of them, 2 jackrabbits and 6 cottontails to do. And I'm going to do that right here in just a little bit. But yeah, this turned out really good. I'm going to make some clothing out of it, and I've said that before. It's definitely going to make a nice hat, probably a bomber's hat. I might be able to make something else out of it as well. But if you haven't seen this video yet, check it out. If I'm doing a crappy job, just mention in the comments. I like criticism. If you like the video, please like it. If it gave you some kind of advice that you found useful, please like it, share it with other people, because that's why I'm doing these videos, to help out other people to know exactly what to do and what not to do, and just advice on products and stuff that are useful when you're out there, bushcrafting, camping, and whatnot. Anyhow, yeah, I'm going to start my fire. So please like or subscribe. It all helps. And I'll see you guys later.